Hi, I'm Chef Raphael and welcome to Lato's Kitchen. Cookies are a delicious snack that kids enjoy, especially with a glass of milk. Today I'm going to show you how to make homemade choco chip cookies made with Lato butter. Let's get started. Now for the ingredients, we need 295 grams of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, Lato butter, this is at room temperature, this is 225 grams, 2 eggs, chocolate chips, 200 grams, and 200 grams of sugar. Now the most important thing about the Lato butter is cut it when it's hard into cubes and then let it sit at room temperature so that it becomes soft. So that's what we'll start with into our bowl. Now, mind you, if you use a microwave to try and soften your butter, you have to be very careful because it can easily become too soft and we don't want it too soft. That's why I'd rather you remove it earlier in the fridge and then let it just become warm into room temperature by itself. Now, to this I'll add the sugar. And then the idea is to whisk it until it's fully mixed. So when it's fully mixed, the sugar and the butter, add the eggs and mix. Mind you, when you're using butter, try and use the unsalted butter, especially when it comes to baking. And in case you have salted butter and you're using salted butter, skip the salt part of this recipe. So that is ready. Now we're adding the dry ingredients, which is the salt and bicarbonate to the flour, and then we'll now add it to the butter mixture. Now because this mixture is a little bit hard, it's not a soft cookie dough, that's why I'm using a spatula like this, because if you use a whisk, in fact when you're mixing, the flour will spread all over the surface as you're mixing it with a whisk or an electric mixer. So the idea is to mix until all the flour is fully mixed into the dough, and then to this I'll add the chocolate chips. What I did with the chocolate chips, I added, I chopped up chocolate block, but you can always use chocolate chips if you have some, and try and use the dark chocolate ones, not the milk chocolate, because the milk chocolate tend to be too sweet, especially when you're baking. And now what is left is to place them on a cooking tray lined with greaseproof or parchment paper. What I'm also using is an ice cream scoop, because an ice cream scoop will be able to scoop even sized balls onto a baking tray, but if you don't have an ice cream scoop, you can still use 2 big spoons. So you need to leave some space so that as they cook, as they will spread so that they don't touch each other. You need to give them a small press so that they are a little bit flat. This will now bake in a preheated oven. I've already preheated my oven, it's at 180 degrees, and they will bake for about 10 to 15 minutes. How you know they're actually ready is you'll actually see them browning on the sides like this. When they are ready now, what you need to do is remove them from the baking tray. What chocolate tends to do when it's still hot, because it's still hot, it will melt and stick to the baking paper. And now you're going to serve them with Lato milk. So the cookies are crunchy. Perfect combination. I hope you've learned something today. This is, like I said, a perfect snack for your kids. Until next time, see you in Lato's Kitchen. Goodbye.